Yeah, I will move you across. Have fun.
Cool, thanks.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Am I getting a count in?
You can count then.
There we go. Yeah, looks like you're live
Am I
on the
live?
stream now. I can see your thingy. Yep.
Cool.
Messages going ready.
Hello stream. Hello everyone. This is Factorio. My name is Zasper. I have with me Kobai
Good evening.
and Bumblebee.
Good evening.
And yeah, I'm going to do an any percent run for you tonight. So,
A bit later than planned.
a little bit later than planned, only 2 and a bit hours, but we don't worry about that. So, how do we introduce this? Should I just go straight off and you guys can start chatting? Because basically, I'm going to be very quiet during the run. Because first of all, I haven't practiced like running while talking much, and the practice I have done while talking, I found it's really difficult to run while talking. So that's why these two handy fellows are here to help me out with that part. So I'll be very silent basically once the run starts. And these guys will pick up the slack and tell you all about what the hell's going on.
We will certainly try our best.
Yeah.
So I guess
Overlay, yeah, the overlays. A bit...
Yes, the overlays on
they
purpose.
changed.
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
the live split's probably just talking about.
the
No,
the
no,
live
the-
split won't
the-
be in the way once the run starts. I can make it a
No,
tiny
the
bit
oth-
smaller.
The other overlay
Oh.
was still on
Oh,
Celeste
that
and
part
1
isn't
hour. But that's fine.
Oh,
That
yeah.
part's not my fault.
Good luck, Zasper.
So, yeah, first thing to explain probably is this is a set seed run. And it's like 3 map generator settings. So you can already see in the map preview here, I've got an enormous iron patch and massive stone, coal, and copper patches, which I'm going to be using to build my whole factory. On top of that, I've memorized the entire route, planned everything from start to finish. Big shout out to a guy called Nephrums who designed this entire run. This entire category wouldn't really exist in the way it does if not for him. Because I think almost every top 10 runner uses this exact build,
Except 1.
except one.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything you'll see is pre-planned. Also, there's no biters. If you know this game, there's these native biters who will try and destroy all of your stuff. We turn them off because we're allowed to in this category. Yeah, I think I'm about ready to start. I hope there's someone in the back scenes looking at the timer, even though I have my own timer, to start that. Is there anything you guys think you should add before we start?
No, should we
No.
give you a countdown so you know when you're about to start? Audio is very quiet.
I can count myself down, I think. Okay, I'm gonna assume that the on-stream overlay timer is ready to start, and I'm gonna count us in. So here we go.
Cool.
In 3, 2, 1, go.
Go, go, go.
Off he goes.
Yep, so this run, in this game as well, you can also use blueprints, but for this run specifically, any percent, they're not allowed. You can only use blueprints created inside the game at the time of running. So, fortunately, he does have to memorize this entire build from start to finish, which is not too difficult. All of us in the sort of top 10, top 20, everyone has the same problem. Everyone has to learn this build if you want to do this one. It's the same for any build. Unfortunately, you do have to memorize it. This game as well is quite lucky in as much as some of the games you see where you have like the glitches categories that go along with it. Factorio doesn't really have many bugs. Touch wood. We're quite fortunate in as much as the devs for Factorio Woob are so on it with updates that any bug that comes, even bugs with mods that have been added, is literally fixed in hours or minutes in some cases. So there's not really a glitchless or glitched run you can do in Factorio, which is kind of nice. It's not one of those ones where you can say, "Oh, I completed the game in 3.5 minutes because I warped to the end boss or
Are you
launched a
throwing
rocket."
shade at the guy who did the Pokemon run a couple of hours
Well,
ago?
I'm just saying, there's, this run actually requires you to complete the game as the devs intended. There's nothing you can do that's outside of the scope of the intended gameplay for this run, which is good.
Yeah, and there's also not a lot of RNG based in the game. There's only like one thing that is RNG, and that's other coal rocks or rocks in general. They have a specific amount or valid range of ore what they can drop. The coal rocks have a range of 24 to 50 coal
right.
and stone, and that's the only RNG. Also in this run, that's only in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, so thankfully again, RNG is not something you have to worry about after this initial couple of minutes, because the rest of the run then is done with very, very well calculated ratios and setups. So the general premise here, if you're not aware of Factorio, is that you've crash landed on a planet in your ship, which you'll see the wreckage of above, and you've got limited resources on you, and you have to mine everything you can off the planet, from stone, iron ore, copper, coal, and a few other advanced bits we'll get to as we get there. Turn them into plates, turn them into something else, like gears. There's green chips that come, red chips, etc. So there's more advanced stuff you can create out of the basic materials. And then the end goal is to basically launch a rocket into space. Which the current world record for this particular run is held by a guy called Frankly, and he did it in 1 hour and 25 minutes. So Zaspar here, I think, is in 5th place at the minute with a 1:31 currently, which is very fast. Only 6 minutes off world record pace, so it's incredibly quick.
That was a run I did yesterday, actually. I got my.
Oh yeah, you PB'd
current
yesterday,
PB.
didn't you? In fact,
Yeah.
so no pressure on that front.
You want my score? I'm currently 12th place with a time of 1:40.02. So basically, Zaspar's estimated time of this run is my
it's your
PB.
PB. And I currently sit at a 1:59.18, just under 2 hours. It took a long time to get the sub 2 hour running on this one. It's quite nice to be sat at that level.
And we're currently beginning with expanding the burner city. That is mainly the start of the run, where you can get slowly some basic starter materials in to quickly expand fast into more.
Yeah, automation is the key.
Yeah, in the first automation.
This first bit of the run here with Burner City is very hand fed. So you see he's having to collect trees for wood, power everything he can by hand by dropping in like bits of coal, bits of wood, everything he can one by one just to get things running. It's not until you unlock the first research, which you see just set there on the top right, it says automation. That is the first research that gets you your first building as such. If you're familiar with like Command and Conquer games, if it's sort of familiar like that, you have like buildings that can craft certain things. You can set recipes on the buildings, and they'll churn out those products as long as they're fed with product. Automation in this game is absolutely key, and it's at the top level. Once you get past this initial phase, the automation really comes into its own. You'll see how quickly the space expands from these sort of burner phase here. In the next 5 minutes, there'll be a entire mini city set up with laboratories and all sorts. So it's quite fascinating how quick this expands. The common saying in Factorio is the factory must grow.
And that it will, very fast, hopefully.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we got Zaspar's got his life split on screen, so you can sort of keep track of where roughly he is in the run. We're debating whether we needed the whole thing or we just needed one split for a rocket launch, but ultimately, the rocket launch is the most important split because that is what gets you your official time. But knowing where you are as you go through the run at certain sort of key points is quite important. So this first split here we're working towards now is the power split, which, as you can see, power is basically being set up now. We've got power poles coming from a little power plant, and that'll go down into a lab and so to get the first research out of the way.
And as we are running this, or like our little bit of community is running this for like over 2 years now, so we have really tried to perfectionize the start. This beginning, you would like feed coal into the boiler, and we started with doing that with a miner. But someday we thought, like, why do we just don't feed 50 coal? And when do we need to refeed it to have it running constantly? And so we gained time by figuring out when do we need to feed more, or actually adding the miner to get the permanent automated coal input into the power.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in the run that have been sort of scrutinized and ratioed to hell, and the numbers have been crunched on this. I mean, this entire
all of the work in this speedrun was done before I arrived on the scene, so I'm just like doing the execution part, which is in a certain sense the easiest part of the speedrun is actually doing the speedrun.
Yeah, designing these bases
I
and
could
the
never
layout.
design one like this. It's actually insane.
Takes multiple hundreds of hours.
Yeah. There's hundreds of hours that gone into to get this particular design up to the level it is currently at. I
It
mean,
also takes a special kind of genius, I think.
yeah, a certain kind of brain to sort of factor in where everything's got to be to link up later. I mean, you'll see some of the bitsy places during this run. To people who have played but not necessarily speedrun will make no sense. But why are you putting that there? What's the point of that? Then you'll see in like 10 minutes later it's all linked up and actually forms part of a larger factory.
No,
It's very well thought out, this run.
And as we have to remember everything in the whole run, and it's 2 hours, it's like we really need to concentrate all of the time, all of the 2 hours. You need to be concentrated, because when you're like 1 minute not concentrated, you can rip your whole run with that.
Mm-hmm.
That can cost you a lot.
This run particularly, we did a practice run yesterday, day before.
2 days before. And
it's pretty much a one tile misalignment can really cause issues with the run. It's not
like
fun.
Everything here was one higher.
Yeah.
Like the smallest amount higher it could possibly have been, and it destroyed everything.
So everything has to be perfect by one tile. That's basically not 1 pixel, but
one square.
Yeah, 1 square, 1 tile.
Yeah, the actual map itself, you don't see it in this format. You'll see it when you hover over the map, the little square that appears. That 1 square is literally all the space he's got. If you're out by 1, that's it. The run can... I mean, you can still complete the run, don't get me wrong. It's not like, oh my god, the run's completely dead. It just slows you down so much because you have to rethink everything as you go. So a lot of the runs, if you got to this point and were off by 1 on any alignment, you would just reset at this point because it's not worth, unless you're not planning to go past a certain point. And also there's like what we call the crafting queue. So there's the point you'll see where Zaspar's basically always crafting something, or should always be crafting something, all being well. It's not always the case. Sometimes you do forget for a few seconds or so, but the rule of ABC, always be crafting, is in effect where there's always something you need next, and generally speaking, most runners either know it off by heart in their head, or they have a sheet separate on a separate monitor that just lists, I need 15 miners here, I need 27 inserters, I need 17 furnaces, so they can keep track of what they need to craft in what order. Because again, crafting queue can actually limit your run. If you're not crafting the right thing at the right time, then you're not going to do what you need. You're not going to be fast enough, essentially. So if you get to this point now, he didn't have those power parts ready or those miners ready, he's already going to lose time there. So the crafting queue plays a huge part as well of keeping the run on track and being on time for the most part.
If you think it's like, that's only 1 to 2 seconds. No, we had to count frames to make a difference between the first and the second place, because it was on the same second. So we had to count pixels to determine who's the first. That's the problem if you don't have tenth and hundredths in the timer.
Yeah, frame counting has happened a few times in a few of the categories last year or so that I can think of, and it's been quite super interesting to watch. Some of the runs, especially even the world record runs, are happening. People are doing like faster and faster times. They're really interesting to watch because you'll see just see how fast. I mean, the run itself comes down a lot. There's like 3 parts of it in my opinion. There's the crafting queue, there's the memorization of the base, so you need to know exactly what you're putting where at all times, but there's also the mechanical skill. So what's like a lot of people don't realize is the hotbar at the bottom there, all of the rows there correspond to a number on your keyboard, so you can literally press 1 2 3 through 9 to 0 etc to hot pick one of those items in your hotbar. And by doing that, you can shave off quite a lot of time across an hour-and-a-half run.
Split, Zaspar.
I have changed where I split the mini science. I do it after power now, so.
Well, it's an after power split now, then, not a mini red
I
split.
know. I need to update the name.
So his split would mean that he has a mini automation of science flask producing, so you can go deeper into the tech tree that you might have seen in the beginning when he set up his first set of research.
Yeah, so you see all this bit now is automation to get these iron plates in, iron ore in, iron plates out, and then all the iron plates start going into things that make other things. So in this case, mini red is those 3 assemblers with a red flask on them. That's mini red science. And that is all he needs, red science, to get the first sort of, was there 6 or 7 researches done, essentially?
No, first 6.
And 3 labs is pretty much enough to do it in the time at which you need
20
them.
minutes.
Yeah, you've got a certain amount of time you need them ready by, and again, it's one of those things that's been worked out and sort of researched to hell. The fact that those 3 labs are enough to basically do what you need in the time. You don't need more, you don't need less.
And now he's gonna start working on copper next, as he has finished his first iron half lane.
Yeah, and again, this is copper ore going into copper plates, essentially. So you have iron plates and copper plates coming through, and these will be turned into other things further down the production line, shall we call it.
With the copper plates, green chips to get crafting even faster. And he's constantly using his personal assemblers that he set up in the beginning, and he's reusing them now, or like for the mini science, he reused the one he placed in minute 7, and now he is changing the wires that he used earlier to make some handcrafting green chips, so he can save more time on handcrafting.
Yeah, everything is geared towards just automating every little step of the way. So the thing you were handcrafting a minute ago to get to that part, you're now setting up automation for that part. Rinse and repeat. And again, everything's been just worked out in such a way that we know exactly how many parts need to be crafted, at which point, where they need to be, to make sure you've got exactly what you need as you're doing stuff. Even the walking distances are calculated in such a way that we know it takes so much time to get between point A and point B, thus you have this amount of time to craft this many items. So it's very well calculated in that respect.
Yeah, you could have
all
seen
done by
that
Nephrons, by the way, not
yeah.
all by done by
Everything
one guy.
by one guy.
Yeah, I mean the Nephrom's original design has actually gone through a few iterations since by himself and by Frankly, and other runners have made slight changes to the way they do things, sometimes to suit their own play style, but ultimately to try and make it more efficient for themselves and other runners that might go, oh, I like the way they've done that. I'm going to move my assembler there by one tile, or move one output here, just to try and make things a bit quicker for themselves. And it all adds up. The refinements the design's gone through have really helped bring this down. So we never thought like sub 1 hour 30 would ever be possible, and now 1 hour 25 is sort of on the cards at some point if it keeps going that way.
I mean, a bit over 1 year we had like the world record was like 145.
Yeah.
And now the world record is at 125, like 20 minutes faster, from like just redesigning the same seed and just optimizing everything you've done.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time getting a sub 2 hour time in Factorio to launch a rocket was like one of the sort of milestones. Like, oh, you got sub 2 hours, that's really quick, really quick. Nowadays, sub 2 hours is actually the bare minimum to hit top 20. Yeah. The top 21 runners, or top 22 now, I think, have all got a sub 2 hour time. It's gone from strength to strength.
If one guy can do it, then anyone can just copy that same design, and if you can execute it just as quickly, then you can get a good time too, which is basically what I've done.
Yeah, that's what we've all done, to be fair. What do they say? It's the copying is like the most sincerest form of flattery, I suppose.
Yeah.
Or copying difference.
Just copying and then try to do it better.
Yeah. Yeah, which frankly didn't want to succeed in, essentially.
Yeah.
But there's obviously a few people catching up quite quickly with times at the minute. Sub 130 is going to be a lot more people, I think, over the next course of this year, definitely.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get a sub 130 soon. Feels like I'm on the edge of making it there.
We spoke a few minutes ago about time management. In the first bits, when he said, had the first lab of the 10th science pack to unlock the automation research, you have 90 seconds to be handcrafting the things you need afterwards. So we really thought, okay, we have 90 seconds. What can we do to optimize everything? Then you're like, okay, we can craft this, and this amount in that time, like 6 miners or 4 miners, 8 inserters, 12, 25 belt and stuff. Like, okay, research finished, and then everything has to be done, so we can start on the next parts. That is like, yeah.
Am I okay to just briefly mention a donation?
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so we have a £20 donation from Pete Was Taken, saying, great to see Factorio getting milestone exposure. Praise the CLX. Thank you very much. And we are now at £215.
Yay.
Which is very close to our target of 250.
Yeah, you're a couple seconds behind.
That's 2 to the power of 8. Thanks.
Yeah, about 7 seconds, which is about what we thought.
Are we getting a donation?
He's muted.
The donator has decided to take their money back, and so...
They've gone, actually, he's still red.
Don't worry, I read it out, just not on the Discord call. It's fine.
I wanted to hear. I want to say thank you, mysterious donator.
Thank you, mysterious donor. Yeah, it looks like it was £20. If it was one donation, £20. Thank you very much. Factorio community are always strong. We had frankly the world record holder did GDSQ last year. Last year. And again, it's speedrunning in this game is very popular. There's a really solid community around the speedrunning, and very little what's the word I'm looking for? Not toxicity, because that's not the right word. Very little infighting as such. There's a lot of camaraderie, and like if someone beats your personal best, it's more a case of well done, and gives you the push to want to go faster and do better.
I don't think that's everywhere about speedrunning.
Some speedrunning communities are different to others. Factorio is probably one of my favourites in terms of, there's a lot of friendly faces in Factorio, which is really nice. It makes it very easy to get into. There's a lot of great resources, especially for other categories. So people who have played Factorio and haven't necessarily wanted to do and get into any percent, which for your first any percent can be anywhere from like 3 to 5 to 6 hours, depending on how fast you are, essentially following a guide and such.
First but there's time, like 6 hours.
Yeah, I was like 5.5 easy for me as well.
Yeah.
I think Zaspar comes storming in at like 2.5 hours or something crazy. It's like, yeah, I'm just fast, naturally gifted.
Frankie did the same.
Yeah, Frankie was exactly the same. He came in out of nowhere and just absolutely beasted this design and made us all look bad. In a good way, though.
I wouldn't be running at all if it wasn't for you, by the way, Kobai.
Oh. Well, you go.
But it's the same for me. I saw Kobai's runs of
a
different category. Like, yeah, that looks fun. And then, I was like, I mean, to be fair, I watched one of our community leader member. I don't know how you want to call him. He's called Anti-Litz. But I was like, why is he never uploading anywhere anymore? Like, oh, he's streaming? That changed a lot.
Yeah, there's something special about it. Streaming in general, I think, from watching the games done live is always quite good, especially speedrunning. There's something a bit more, I don't know, something a bit more fun about watching a speedrun live and seeing those times go green and someone breaking a record here or there is always really, really good fun to watch. I mean, the other categories in this one, if anyone's thought about speedrunning Factorio, there's very, very simple categories. We do it at the start. There's one called Steelax %, which is basically get the Steelax research complete. And that takes anyone, I think the world record's something like 9 minutes, 8 minutes something, sub 9 minutes. Most people do it in about 20-ish. That's a really, really good quick one to get started with. Then it goes up from there into things like getting on track like a pro, which is creating a train in about half an hour-ish. Any percent.
Yeah, Steelix is 8 minutes 50 seconds by Wrestlington.
It's a British guy.
Yeah, another British guy. Whoop, whoop, we got the Brits.
We have 100%, that means all achievement by anti-elite, that's 5 hours, 9 minutes, 47 seconds. 850, I think, yeah, anti-patients, yes. With default settings, that is basically take what you get from, if you would do now a playthrough with Bidas, with Norman, no huge patches of ore, just, as small as it can be, and then you can spend re-rolling the map 2 hours or more. What we have seen.
Ridiculous. Whenever I check Anti-Litz's stream, it's always just re-rolling.
Yeah, and same for 100%. You just want to re-roll that map to get the perfect map you want to play. And then you have the first thing done, that's a good map. Then the next thing is just your mechanical placement and playing.
Yeah, there's a few different designs as well for things like default settings. Like the base has to be built on the fly, so you can't really design anything for a map because you never know what you're going to end up with on the map you roll. Same with 100%. 100% is completely different because the patches on 100% are absolutely huge. So the design for that is a massive blueprinted mess because it has to be a blueprint due to, the sheer scale of that one.
Yeah.
There's an any percent new game plus version of this, so you can run this base. So the good thing with this is you can actually run this and you can take a blueprint of it and you can build the blueprint so you can get used to it, but you can submit that into the New Game Plus category, which means you actually get a valid time on a speedrun board building this with just using the blueprint instead, which is valid for that category. That's a really good way of learning the build and sort of starting the any % journey, as it were.
Yep. And now Zasper just reached his next bigger milestone. That would be labs. That's just a huge lab setup he just did too. That's actually the only thing. He's only expanding it later. That's gonna give him all of the red and green science research that he's gonna need in the next 1 hour. Or like, yeah, not 1 hour, but
yeah, everything built here is basically just geared towards making things faster at the end, essentially, to get this rocket launched as quickly as possible. And this is the first steel lane. So this one, the split you see the steel furnaces is actually coming a bit later. This is the steel that's created to go into the steel furnaces. And this I always hate building this. I always keep saying every time I run this, and I've been streaming this and whatnot, every single time I complain about it. I hate building this steel.
Which part do you not
layout.
like about the steel furnace?
I don't know what it is about this steel layout. It just bugs me. I think it's just a sheer volume of inserters that you have to put down at this point. Because you kind of have to run down the left-hand side and put them all facing to take coal in off the belt. Then you go down the other side and put them all to take in coal and then the iron and plates the other way, rotating the ones you put down previously. And it's like, oh, I don't know what it is about it. It just angers me. I'm irrationally building this smelter every time.
Zasper, you're gonna need more miners for your steel.
Yeah, I just realised and crafted them. I also need more inserters, so...
I mean, just 8 seconds too late.
Yeah. Yeah, you should wait 8 seconds before giving him advice, just to make sure he's not doing it already.
But in that 8 seconds, he can already have done it, right? So it's infinity loop.
It's catch-22 in it, yeah. Yeah, but that's the steel furnaces set up, and this is the miners we're seeing go down the outside now, which is just what gets their ore in. Because this area was set up before.
It's,
yeah.
You just need to smelt it twice, so that's why we have the,
steel
the double layer going on.
Steel is just taking iron ore, putting it into iron plates, and then transferring those iron plates straight into another furnace to craft steel. I think it's 5 iron plates to 1 steel.
Yeah.
So it just converts them across. Hence why this is such a long furnace, because it needs to be. It's created in such a way that it produces enough steel per minute for the run. And at the bottom here, it just buffers it up into a couple of chests and then inserts it out onto a belt. And then this steel is what goes in towards the steel furnaces ever so slightly. You see there how that belt is just put underneath the green science there is tile perfect. And on other runs, if you're off by 1, that belt will not go through there, and you'll find you have to do some very interesting maneuvers with belts to get it to work there. So it's always fun if you realize at that point something's off by 1.
In the beginning, if you see it when you're off by 1, then you're gonna hunt. Where's the mistake? Where am I off by 1? And then you go back, and it's probably gonna be copper that is off by 1 below the first mini science.
It's probably a mistake you made 30 minutes ago and didn't realize at the time, which is the cruel part of running this game.
Yeah, you usually find, why is that not lining up? But then you look back and you think, look, 20 minutes ago I put the steel furnaces down and I put them all down by 1.
Yeah.
And then at that point you have to make a choice. If you're not going to PB and you're just practicing, it's fine, you can carry on. But ultimately for most runners at that point, it's like, no, start again, rip the run. It's just not worth the hassle. I've got a feeling there's been another donation, because I think it's gone up again. It was 215, wasn't it? Yeah.
We have another £10 donation.
4
minutes ago. The factory must grow.
Yes.
It must indeed.
That's from Nox, actually.
Oh, Nox.
Thank you, Nox.
Okay.
We know Nox. Thank you, Nox. I say the speedrunning community is a very, very generous bunch when it comes to playing Factorio. There's quite a few people around who watch a lot of the streams, and especially when there's PBs and world records to be had, there's usually a lot of celebration. There's a lot of gifted subs on Twitch and bits and all sorts going on for runs, especially when people have been putting a lot of time into perfecting the runs. You know, there's a lot of these runners will watch, like Zasper, in the Discord, you'll see when he's running, generally speaking, and we'll see, oh, every day this week he's been practicing this or he's been running this, and his time's been getting greener and greener and greener, and he's on for PBs and good times and such. And it's the same with a lot of the runners. You'll see a lot of the effort that goes into the runs. It takes a bit of dedication to get to the point we're at now, like an hour and a half. I mean, we got estimated time of 1 hour 40, and I mean that is very fast. I mean, I think 1 hour 40 puts you in the top
12 spot.
Top 12,
me.
yeah. You'd
That
beat
is me.
Bumblebee.
If you get a 140 flat, you're gonna beat me by 2 seconds.
Yeah, so 140 is... So there's no pressure, we just really want to see Zasper beat Bumblebee's PB time by 2
So
seconds.
far, this run is going very
Don't jinx
smoothly.
it, don't say it out loud.
Apart from the fact that I'm missing a load of gears right now. So you see I'm handcrafting about 400 gears.
Oh yeah, gears that go into the steam engines, which is, it's a little bit rough, but again, fortunately, because of the way the building's done here, it's not terrible because you can build around it a little bit, so you can set other things up in the same area. So he needs these steam engines to go to the left of these boilers he's placing, but for now he can do all the inputs and power poles and everything else whilst they're crafting. Still a little bit slower than you'd like, but
I
it
should find
works
some
just
gears
about.
somewhere else. This is really
Yeah.
a big time loss, actually.
No, you're always too low.
I don't know. I don't know why I'm low on gears here. Actually, I
You need
don't know
about
what went
100
wrong.
gears.
Yeah. I know you might think like, why is he overbuilding on the whole coal patch, or now on the edge on the copper patch? It's just that that is how the design goes. We need that amount of resources from the patch, and the rest we just overbuild.
Yeah, in this seed, the patches are so huge, you just don't need all of it. So you just build on top of it.
Yeah, you need the space to build. Again, the factory must grow, and it's got to grow somewhere. In this case, it has to grow on patch because it's the only place you can build, because the design of the map has been put to such a level that the patches grow to such a size you have no choice but to build over the top of them. But it works, and it works really well. Now just line up, yeah, look at that. The pipes go around the power pole. That's always good to see. That means so far, I don't want to say out loud, but don't want to jinx it. But the alignment at the minute is bang on, which is great.
I can't believe you even thought for a second I might have gotten a
Well,
wrong.
After the practice runs we've seen, it was always up for debate.
Yeah, and that power is gonna be enough for the next 30 minutes until he's gonna need to expand it again. But he's not gonna do that manually anymore.
No, at that point we get the wonderful world of bots, which you'll see on the splits about 47.5 minutes. So in about 27 minutes or something, bots go into effect, and that is where the game changes again. So all of this done so far is all hand built, handcrafted, set up automation processes to get the things you need out in quantity, buffer it all up, get it into the place you need it. And as you can see, all the way he's putting stuff on now is just upgrading this base now to make it even faster with the stuff that's going on. So he's upgrading these furnaces to steel versions, which basically gives them faster crafting time. And then we're adding more miners in to ensure that there's more resources going in, because they're going to consume what they already had much quicker. So now they're going to take what they have and have even more added to it, just to ensure they keep running at full speed at all times. And then
doubling everything in a very short period of time.
Yeah. It's, you need more, and you need it fast. And this is just how it goes. You just add more miners, you upgrade all your furnaces, and before you know it, you've got... It's a big smiley face. Oh, he's going on the camera. Is Zaspar, you look beautiful. Oh, amazing.
Oh, what? Have I appeared on the stream?
Yes.
What?
What?
But not quite.
What do you mean?
See that?
You are a wonderful stick figure. Well, you were a wonderful stick
okay.
In a form.
I thought my camera had turned itself on.
I was like, where's Zasper?
I don't know, I think it's a very
Am I
good
a
likeness.
VTuber? Is that what's happened?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's what we'll go with. VTuber, definitely.
Yeah.
You're a very 2D, or almost one-dimensional VTuber, but
I mean,
yes.
he's playing Factorio, he's playing 2D, so he can be 2D, right?
That's true, that's true. There's no rule says you have to be 3D in this game.
Where's the speak bubble?
£5 and they get a mustache.
£5 donation, you get some mustache. I love it. So this base is just basically been upgraded now, and now he's adding in sort of a what we call the mall. I don't know why it's called mall. I think it's a very American term, but I guess that's just kind of the term that's used.
You can get there to grab everything.
Yeah, or the shop.
Yeah,
I'd
you
call
get
it a
anything you
shop.
like. We're building stuff which makes other stuff.
How much for a penis on the figure?
So we can build more stuff with that stuff.
Double it. No.
Yeah, so this mall is expanded now, and you end up getting £69 of it. 69 quid for a penis and a figure. That is.
Oh no!
Yeah. We can do it.
I didn't consent to that one.
Yeah, what you don't know, that's actually a picture of Zasper. Yeah, it's not a drawing. That's genuinely how he looks.
Zasper, play Factorio with me, please.
Okay, I think this is all working correctly.
Yep, as long as you've got your limits on,
Although
which you're
where's
doing
all
now
the
from
green
what you can
chips?
see.
There's not as many green chips as I was hoping on this belt.
Did you definitely limit
Or
the
maybe because
yellow
there's
inserters?
probably not enough copper yet.
Have you done the
I'm pretty sure I did, yeah.
the splitter prior?
For green chips and
Yeah, the buffer. Yeah.
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 I think it's because copper was low, because I haven't expanded that yet.
Yeah, that's mainly the problem. That's really...
So this whole what's his last 5 to 7 minutes has literally just been, there's been no new expansion as such. It's mainly been upgrading all the existing infrastructure to make it work a lot harder. So you put a lot more into it. So now we're just adding extra copper into the line here. And again, it's designed in such a way that
We now have a £5 donation from Anonymous that says, get mustached on. And so there will now be a mustache.
Do I get a mustache?
Thank you for the £5. Thank you for giving Zasper a mustache. I think that's.
How does it look?
We'll find out in a sec. I'm hoping for handlebars. I think handlebars, but you know. So a lot of these miners here, this is a whole new mining smelting setup, but again, it's done in such a way that it all fits perfectly within this area. It's all just designed to fit with the amount that you need, which is again, it's amazing. The design that fits here is just, you know, I just see things going in.
I knew I was more than 8 seconds behind. I was like, "You're talking about the miners? He's just picked up the steel furnaces." I knew I was behind.
This part here as well, you see he just brought the coal in from where he built power earlier, and again, it lines up in such the perfect way. Oh, that mustache is brilliant.
I'm so sad I don't get to see it.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it later.
Yeah, you can watch it back in the VOD. It's a very fitting mustache. But yeah, the coal that we built for power earlier essentially lines up in such a perfect way that you bring it across to then feed these 2 smelters that he's building as well. And again, it's just built so nicely in that way that everything is just exactly where you need it at the right time.
Yeah, more compliments than Ephraim's.
More compliments.
No,
to the
this is
chef,
me.
essentially.
This is all Ephraim's design, because, yeah.
And now he's gonna create or preparing well, the iron is mainly for power plant, and later
this automates stuff for power plants, and then some more science later on that goes into. But again, it has to run now to start creating the stuff that you need for later, because there's so much of it you need.
You need was it 400, 500 more engines?
Yeah. The campaign levels ever get speedrun. I think there was some talk of some people doing the tutorial levels and things like that as speedrunning, but to get it classified as a new category, it has to be submitted to Speedrun, the forums essentially, and as long as 2 or more people submit a run for that, it will then be considered to be added to the category list as official runs that people can then take on. And so far, no one's submitted any other than just some fun runs for it.
That was actually something on my mind the other day. I'd like to see the tutorial or campaign actually. That would be really cool. If that was speedrun.
Broken.
I think in New Game Plus you should be able to upload everything, right? Isn't that what we had the other runs? I mean, this is how we got the other new category, wave defense, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure how they did. I know it had to be. I know it had to be discussed on the forums, and then 2 runs had to be done before it would be considered as a new category.
Yeah, someone suggested it, and the moderators said, if you do a run for it, and someone else does a run, then we'll add it to the website.
And it's not did directly.
And that's basically what happened, right?
Yeah, so far no one's done. Wave defense, did happen like that. Wave defense is relatively new in terms of category-wise. The latest one to be added, I guess. And that was, I think, was it Splee was the orchestrator of that?
Yeah.
And he basically said I wanted to run it, and he did, and he did a run and showcased it as sort of what it takes to do it. And I think 5 or 6 of us actually went ahead and were like, yeah, this looks like fun actually, just give it a go. And there's quite a few of us now. There's about 10, 15 people that have got a speedrun for it. And it's quite fun, wave defense, to be fair.
Where is it?
Happy to accept donations suggesting various budget VTube modifications. There you go. Get your donations in.
What's the next donor goal for the next...
Suggest something to be added to Zaspar's VTuber character.
Where am
I think then he must. I think at the end of the run, for all the modifications it's done, it should save the avatar and make him use it as his avatar for at least a week in all social media. So on his Twitch, Discord, etc., he has to use it as his official avatar.
And if you think like, can I only play this game alone? No, you can play in like official multiplayer any percent or default settings. You can play up to 8 players. And there's another category that is called New Game Plus massive multiplayer. You can play with unlimited amount of players that you can handle, or your server, your host, whatever can handle. And then you might think, what is the fastest time you launch a rocket with the amount of players? I think the fastest time for 8 players, it was, let me find it.
Just under 1 hour.
59? Yeah, 59 something, I want to say.
Yeah, 59 minutes and like 30 seconds or something.
Yeah, it's something like that.
And the fastest time what we did with our little designer group was 58. Oh god, I've no
80% multiplayer.
58-14 with 76 players. That
was the massive multiplayer game, wasn't it? We did, yeah.
That was fun. I remember being in that one, I think.
We have a host in Russia that is hosting those crazy events.
Another anonymous £5 donation, suggesting to give you a top hat.
Oh, excellent.
You know what, I need an engineer's hat. But I guess we've already got a top hat then.
A top hat is very fitting. You can probably get some like engineer goggles or something. But
oh yeah, I'd love some. Someone donate me some engineer goggles.
I'm gonna get a pickaxe.
And a pickaxe. And a steel axe.
So, yeah. Now what he has done in the past 5 minutes, from the iron and copper he built, he's making more green chips. And with oil that he just set up with like the 10 refineries, he's gonna do now a bit of plastics with wires and green chips going into red chips, or like red circuits, how we call them. And that's gonna be his next production for the next part of the
leads to the next science, basically. The game itself, generally speaking, you follow the sciences. So we started off with the red science, upgrade to the green science. We get to skip military science purely because we don't have biters on for this run, which means we don't need to concentrate on getting defenses or attack power as such, like gun turrets, laser turrets, nuclear weapons, etc., etc. Oh, that top hat is brilliant. It's even got a red stripe around it. Amazing. Amazing. This is going to be the best. No. This is going to be the best avatar you've ever had. This is.
I'm loving it. I can't wait to actually see the damn thing.
But yeah, military science is not required as such because it's not used in this run particularly. It is used in default settings, so it does have to be considered. But what you set up now is the next science, which is blue science, which you don't get until you get oil. A lot of players of Factorio tend to fall down at blue science.
I remember it being so hard the first time.
Yeah, the first few times you do blue science, it's very overwhelming because you need all the oil products to do plastics, to get greens, wires, red chips, everything set up in such a way that you can produce even just a little bit. And the oil outputs can be very daunting at first. Liquid manipulation in Factorio is one of those it takes a bit of getting used to. Once you've done it and got used to it, it's absolutely fine. You know, it's like nothing. Oh, what was I struggling with? It's really easy, but initially it can be very daunting. A lot of players get to blue science and go, "Oh, I'm going to restart my game." And just do a new map and carry on. Regardless, the thing is, you can do a lot of stuff before blue science.
Yeah.
Top hat is epic. Look how tall the top hat is.
Oh, we're actually going down now, so we can add stuff on the bottom.
Have I got a body too?
Or not anymore. None, not yet. But
Yep.
just for now, just unlock the
every
next...
pound donated. I'll add a line to the top hat.
Yeah.
So that's blue science done. Blue science is now being crafted in the assemblers and sent over to the labs. And once it hits the labs, the next research phase will go, which is now setting up, as you can see. And again, the research queue is memorized and set up in blocks of 7. So we always know the next 7 researchers to put into that queue once it's done. And they'll keep going. So this research queue gets us all the way to the fabled bots, which are only 5 minutes away. Bots are where the game kind of changes in some respects. Like a lot of this running around and building stuff becomes more of a copy some of the stuff you've built, repurpose it into other parts of the base, and get the bots to fly there and build it for you. There's still some manual processing of stuff, but you'll see the game really picks up pace from here to the end now, because we're over halfway. Once you hit bots, you're generally considered halfway through the run. So if your bot time is like 1 hour, as long as you keep the same pace and are running reasonably well, you could finish the whole run in 2 hours. The faster runners like Zaspar and Co, obviously your bot time is actually quicker, further than halfway, because you're that fast that bots actually come.
I received a £5 donation from BBR saying, pickaxe, please.
Yes!
I want the pickaxe.
I love it.
Excellent.
Thank you so
I'm looking,
much.
forward to seeing if they're going to test the drawer's skills for this avatar to see just how well you can draw some things.
I want to see the pickaxe.
So do I. It's like, quick, Google search a pickaxe and just put it in the picture.
Unfortunately, I'm not using my pickaxe very much at this point in the run. I don't think I use it again a single time, actually.
Only unless you need to pick stuff up you put down wrong, I guess.
Oh yeah, I guess that's technically using a pickaxe, but I don't whack it like I do when I whack the ores.
No, true. True, it's not like picking up stone, rocks, etc. anymore. Or trees. You might get a few trees.
Yeah.
As you know, bots will probably do that for you as well, actually. Again, it's funny, one of those things, like the amount of trees Zaspar mined or pickaxe at the start of the run is literally almost number perfect to get you to bots where they can then be automated at that point. That's how refined the run is. Like even getting to the power pole level is just done in such a way that it's number perfect, basically. You know, the trees have been manipulated in such a way that we know there's just enough there to get you to that point of the game before you need more.
And on older versions, you had the choice of like you had to craft a pickaxe. So you don't, now you get it for free. But back in the days, you had to craft them, and it can break, or it could break, and then you had to craft another one.
The pickaxe is on. It's actually not a bad pickaxe, to be fair.
No.
It's actually not a bad pickaxe.
But that's not out of steel anymore. That's modded one.
Yeah, that's like I think it's more like an iron one.
Diamond.
But we'll take it. We'll take it. Or diamond. It's like a Minecraft pickaxe.
Yeah. So, yeah, and now Zaspar is going into the next stage, that is preparing for bots, and he already created some blueprints that he's gonna need for like the whole time of the run. I mean, the run is not that long. We got half of it down, like 1 hour left.
45 minutes left, actually.
Yeah, 45 minutes left.
It's going to be PBing, so it's fine. No pressure. But the good thing is, again, the way Nephrim set this up, it's basically done in such a way that you can take blueprints from parts of the run, like smelters you built previously, and then the big bit you'll see for the mixed build that comes in a bit is basically from previously built parts are then copied and reused, changing a few recipes, and then they just work for the part you need them for. And the mixed build that comes up where it says go to mixed and then mixed is basically the big part of the run. This is the big part that literally does the bulk of the heavy lifting to get the rocket at the end. There's a lot of the stuff comes out of there to make all the science stuff that you need for the last couple of science packs. But it's done in such a way that it's just very, very efficient. And it's very cool to see the mixed builds go up and start producing stuff. My
We
face when I
have
hold a
yet
pickaxe.
another £5 donation from Luna E. Picura saying, how about a bot flying next to the top hat?
Nice.
That's a great
Very
idea.
nice. That's a great idea, yep. Totally agree. Now, can you draw a bot is the question. Haven't actually seen a bot in the run yet. We're still probably a minute away from bots or less. But yeah, you gotta try and draw a bot.
I mean,
like
bots
a
are
little
getting researched, so we are, yeah, basically
It's
made
like a-
away.
Yeah, it's like a little flying drone, circular, like a little cylinder maybe. I'll be intrigued to see how this one turns out. Yeah, this is the final setup for bots. So this is the frames that go into bots. So all the stuff on the left on the belts gets taken in, and then frames get spat out with a mix with green chips. Which again, the green chips are done in such a way and buffered from earlier that Zaspar has picked them up, has them ready, puts them into a chest, and then they're fed in one by one. And it's a very specific amount that's put in. So into the chest, he puts in. I think, do you still do 1200 or 600? No, what is it? 1200?
The green circuits.
I
6
think it was
stacks,
1100, right?
I did 6 stacks.
Also
6
1200.
stacks. Yeah, 1200. So that produces basically 600 bots. And that's exactly what we need for the run. No more, no less. It's the perfect amount at this point that's been sort of researched and run to prove that you don't need any more, because the thing is you need a lot of bots quickly to get the next few builds up and running as fast as you can. But then as you get past that point, the bots become irrelevant because you have so many bots, you can build stuff really quick then. Speaking of the devil, Frankly says good luck in chat.
Oh,
That's my
frankly,
Thank you,
nice to see
Franklin.
you.
current world record holder. For anyone who's just joined and not paying attention, Zaspar has his very own VTuber character being created in the top left via donations. Any £5 donation, you can suggest a modification to add to his VTuber look at the minute. Currently, there's going to be a bot added that's just been donated and asked for. We've got a mustache, a top hat, and a pickaxe so far. And the bot is coming. I'm just waiting to see what the bot looks like because I don't know how that's going to be drawn.
Is it the construction bot or logistics bot? We're gonna see.
Ooh, that's a good question. We'll find out. So at this point is basically now bots coming online. And you'll start to see, there you go, see them flying around the map there. So the little bots there will basically, for any blueprinted item that's put down, the bots will try and take that item out of a red chest that is placed down over existing chests to make them available within that logistics network to say, okay, the bot has found an item that's valid. There's a blueprint item on the map that's in range. I'm going to go pick this up and place it for you. So while Zaspar's placing all of these miners and starting to get power set up, there's the bot. That's amazing.
That's logistic.
That's logistical. That'll do. That'll do. That's nice. Yeah, I like it.
But
I think we're onto something here, Zaspar.
I mean, we in any percent don't use logistics bot, but in 100% we use them for transporting items because there's achievement for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's
any
like
percent doesn't benefit from logistics bots, but Luna, that's a good bot, worth the £5. Yeah, definitely. It's actually not a bad drawing.
No.
Does it look like a Factorio bot?
It's passable. It's absolutely passable. Yeah.
It's a logistic. It's a logistic bot. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. So the bots on the map now are basically a extension of Zaspar. So he's blueprinted all the power down he needs now for this next bit of the run, and this power will carry him right up until the last maybe, I don't know, 10-15 minutes or so. There's a gap between this power and the last power, but this power is massive because it has to now power the next part of the base that's going to go up, and all of the bots. Bots are not cheap.
And
bots are very expensive.
As we use 600 bots, these consume a lot of power.
Yeah, roboports aren't cheap, and as they go and recharge off the network, the power spikes can be huge. So there needs to be a big power increase here to cover them as they're being produced. But bots produce the power stuff themselves, and they take it up there and build it all, which is really nice.
Yeah, I just wanted to say Zaspar built Stonebrick buffer, because you tend to forget that.
Yeah, I just did that.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I need more steel.
Yep, so now it's a case of gathering all the stuff. So the next split on Zaspar's run is basically go to mix, which is basically the point where he now has to gather up all the bits he needs, everything he's going to need to transport down to the area, because he doesn't want to come back up here unless he has to, and use the bots to build what he can and build the stuff. We're going to basically head from where he is now, down and right, towards those big patches on his mini-map where you see iron, coal, copper. That's where we're going to be building stuff. But obviously, you don't want to run down there and then I go, oh, I didn't bring these down. And you've got no way of getting that back without running up there and picking it up yourself, essentially.
Zasper, you still need to craft your jump plans.
That's a good point, thanks.
Because now he's munching his inventory. He wants to craft 462 green science back, but that's just to give him more space to pick up more resources, so he does not have to come back that fast again.
I suppose technically, I wouldn't call it a glitch as such, but that's one of the mechanics within Factorio that's kind of a bit weird. So once you've got stuff in your inventory, so you see his inventory is basically full there on that screen, you have 1 square spare. Once you consume stuff into your crafting queue and say, I want to craft 462 green science, it takes that stuff from your inventory and puts it sort of nowhere in the ether and just uses it to craft. So you then gain that space in your inventory. Yeah, it's magic. It's magic crafting hands. And it just appears nowhere and ends up being consumed to make that stuff. If he was then to stop his crafting queue, you'd get what's called a chest explosion, and basically anything he couldn't fit into his inventory would then just appear on the floor around him in a massive explosion of items because it wouldn't fit on his character. And it does happen more often than you'd like, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then
but in this case, he's managed to put the stuff he needs into chests further down and then stop his crafting queue and regain all the items he then was going to consume for those items he was crafting. It's a weird way of tricking the game into giving you more space temporarily, at least. So even though it's not a glitch as such, it is as intended, but its intended use in any percent and speedrunning is to give you that extra inventory space where you wouldn't normally have it. Yeah. The only way to get it normally would be to research toolbar? What's it called? Tool belts, that's what I'm looking for. Research tool belt, and that gives you extra lines in your inventory.
1 row of inventory.
That would cost a lot of research to,
I do
add
it.
to.
You research tool belt? Wow.
Yes, I have the time for researching tool belt.
The bots are being really slow, and I'm not quite sure why.
Check green chips.
I just checked all the frames assemblers are all running. So I might be limited. I have to sometimes wait for bots to finish things before I can continue, which slows me down, which is not good.
Yeah, there is an internal bot queue within the game. So on the bottom right of his screen, the flashing yellow icon has a number above it, which is how many entities the bots have yet to place and they're working on. When you hover over it, it gives you a count and shows you exactly what they're missing and what they need to put in, etc. And if that queue, I think it stops at 600 essentially. So if you hit 600 on that, basically you're overworking the bots. They're not going to get through that queue of stuff in a reasonable amount of time. So at this point of the run now, it becomes a lot of bot management. You have to make sure you give them enough to do at the right time without overworking them, that they get lost in the blueprint. Because if you give them too much, they don't really follow a strict pattern of whatever you place first necessarily. If you place a lot of things at once in blueprint, the bots will generally try and just fill in whatever they can.
Yeah, you'll end up with a million half-finished builds which won't run at all, rather than
so they're a bit silly in some respects. They'll just put whatever they want wherever they want. Whereas if you build it in staggered little stages, like so you see Zasper put a smelter. Now he's just building a few bits and then he's put a mining line. Now he's building a few bits, he'll put some more mining lines. The bots then in theory are more inclined to follow that blueprint pattern and set up what he needs where he needs it. The key here is getting this coal and such into the build as quick as he can, because it's needed quite far to the left to feed all of this mixed build he's going to be setting up in a few minutes. And again, taking blueprints as he goes. Bots will then do that next. Miners again with a few modifications.
The mixed build was already built 20 minutes ago, or 15 minutes ago at Blue Sands. Because we just copy that and we just change a few bits.
We're copying a large part of a factory and just building it again somewhere else, essentially.
Yeah, the Blue Science build is very clever in as much as it is just recycled into a mixed build which you can see top left now. That's the start of that's the first mix build going in. There'll be some recipe changes and a few adjustments to some of the assemblers up there, but ultimately that is exactly what's going to be produced and where things go. That's where the bulk of the next lot of materials are made, all in one row. So we call it a mix build because it literally takes the inputs of iron and copper into the smelters, and then they're fed into this mix build, and they filter off into different parts and produce steel and plastic and green chips and wires. They make red chips, they'll make speed modules, prod modules, blue chips, all in this one long row of assemblers essentially. And they'll all get output into one central location, and they'll all feed into that, and they'll all be taken then out into the next two sciences that come after this.
Now I've screwed up here. Efficient. I've got no iron to craft with, so I have to wait till I'm back at the main base before I can make any pump jacks or chem plants.
Don't forget the tanks, don't forget the robot.
Did I do a report? I can't remember.
You've not done it. Oh wait, not for me yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen the tanks. Yeah, there's a report. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. And like when we said earlier, we're gonna expand fast in the late game. We just placed 17, or in the next 15 minutes, we're gonna place and finish 17 lanes of ore.
Yeah.
Like 5 iron, 10 copper, 2 coal.
Yeah.
Whereas in the first 5 minutes, we managed to put together less than 1.
Yeah.
And the 5 minutes in the late game of a run, you do a million times as much work as you do at the start.
Yeah, bots are incredibly useful for running. Pipe for the pump jacks need to be reconnected too.
Is it not connected? Oh, that's a good point. Thank you for pointing that out.
Thank you, anti-patience.
My blue science
and you're
is
missing the magic inserter, apparently.
Oh, that's another good point.
Oh, yeah, I know what magic is.
Speedrunners in the chat.
Was that also anti-patience?
That was
no, yeah.
Who's that? Oh, thank you. Oh, frankly.
No,
frankly,
but frankly, also wanted to point out pump check pipe.
Very kind.
What else can we get added to Zaspar's VTuber character? There must be some other ideas out there. Someone must have a £5 donation they want to put something hilarious on Zaspar.
You wanted goggles.
Oh, you did want goggles. If anyone's got a £5 donation, he does want a pair of engineer goggles on his face. There's roboports everywhere now, so this is just preparing ready for the bots to be able to move around a lot quicker for the next sets of builds, because they can only move so far before they run out of charge. So having roboports within range at various points means they're able to stop there, recharge themselves, and carry on a lot quicker. You notice it early on in runs. If you're not quick enough at setting roboports up for some reason, they all tend to congregate around 1 or 2 roboports waiting to charge one after the other, and then it just really slows them down.
Is your robot for oil connected? I don't think so. Please check.
Yeah,
no, it's not connected.
Is it not?
Nope.
Yes, it is. Wait.
It was blinking. It's not connected.
It now is. I just checked. For oil, did you say?
Or now it works. Never mind. It possible just too slow placing the one power board connecting the 2 sides.
Now I think this mix print is entirely ready. I need to double check everything.
Yeah, so this is the mix build. So this is the build you took from Blue Science, and he's now set everything up. So you got your blue chips, you've got your prod modules, you got red chips, and that all got plastic. There's LDS. And then this is just copied down then several times in various stages to produce more and more. So for each one of these that's added, you end up with, so now he's just basically quadrupled the amount of output he's going to get off that one build by putting all coal is blocked due to pipes in the mixed build, apparently.
Coal blocked. Okay, I'll check that out. Thank you.
Oh, if you put the undergrounds, the coal that comes into the mixed build, did you put the undergrounds in over the pipe?
And you just blueprinted 4 times.
No, this is the pipe that goes at the very start by the.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, good shout, Defnos. Thank you.
Now, why is? Oh yeah, I didn't place the pump jacks yet. Okay.
And you're crafting. You still gonna need more champions. You need 15 total.
Yeah, I'll do the others later because I need to craft labs before I do the last chem plants.
Well, everyone needs to remember chem plants because one of us is going to forget, or all of us. This is the curse of the speedrunner. I'll just craft them later, and then later forget. Coal inserter is missing for steel.
Yeah, the long inserter is missing.
Oh my god. I can't believe the number of things I'm forgetting.
That's right.
So
that's why
we have a
everything-
£5 donation from Jordan and Georgina saying,
Oh.
"Good luck, Caspar!" Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! And a smiley face.
Oh, you
There
guys.
is no customization though.
Well, he did
Goggles.
request goggles. Yeah, I'd say goggles. That was a dealer's choice.
That's very kind,
Yeah.
guys.
So the coal inserter is missing all the mixed builds. Yeah, so if you fix that in all the ones, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to replace that every single time now.
Yeah.
Create just a new blueprint.
I could do that.
Yeah, it might be safer in some respects, but do it when you copy them next, you'll be fine otherwise. So this here is the buffer. So this basically takes all of the output he's just created down, set a load of filters on a load of splitters, and then put them all into output chests in such a way that they can be stored or used elsewhere. For the most of them, they're stored and used very shortly in different parts of the run.
Even looks like a mess with all of the inserters.
Yeah, it looks like what the hell, but again, they're set up in such a way. Everything's output very specifically, so this should all line up. So the lanes he's bringing up here are designed to bring the red chips, was it red chips, LDS, blue chips,
prod modules, speed modules.
and prod modules. Yeah, prod modules first up, and they go into the next science that he's about to build. But again, he needs to raid everything up in the top here because we've got to get more resources because it's very resource heavy. So while the bots are building the stuff in the bottom, Zaspar builds the stuff at the top, and then as the bots finish more and more stuff, he'll then add more and more stuff to the queue for the bots to get on with. So as they keep finishing, there's more furnaces, there's more miners going in, and then more mixed builds are going. So we get, is it 10 mixed builds in total, I think?
Yes.
Yeah, so there'll be 10 of these mixed builds going in total at the end. And each one of them has to produce a certain amount. So the first few obviously produce more, but you need to get to 10 to ensure you've got enough produced in the time we need to launch a rocket in a reasonable time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, Zaspar, yeah?
Zaspar, can you check the megawatts on power, please? Because
It's alright. Power's good.
I mean, how much do you have in total? Was it 219?
221 right now.
Okay. No,
Why?
because on the map, there's still the purple thing from top left power plant. Because you just don't have vision.
Ah, yeah, the radar doesn't reach that far, yeah.
I just wanted to ask to recycle the robots from the power plant.
And so that the buffer of coal we set up when we complained about the steel build originally, there was a buffer of coal set up with 3 chests up there. That coal is now turned and is being sent down this lane here to come into the steel, big steel as we call it. So this is now a 4-lane smelter with 4 lanes of iron coming in. The minimap can't be trusted. No, it's true.
Yeah.
The minimap lies. And this all gets put into 4 big steel smelters to produce enough steel for the next part of the run. Because again, we need a lot of steel very quickly.
Turn inserters turned belt on the top for the miners.
Yeah, your miners into your top of your builder.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good spot.
Hopefully you've turned the belt since, because the rest of the belt was backwards as well, but we'll see in 8 seconds.
Is this all done? Oh, I forgot.
No,
rubber
the belt
plant
going into the splitter at the top was backwards. Yeah, you're on it now, I think. Yeah, okay, good. You got a smiley face and exclamation marks added to the to your VTuber avatar at the moment.
Lovely, lovely.
And the roboport that Zaspar just placed as well as a ghost at the bottom there is actually quite. I wouldn't say it's very specific, but it's in a very specific location down there.
That's not
It's
in the
just
way.
off. Yeah, it's just off the ore patch out of the way because we've still got more miners to build, but it's high enough and low enough in the right sort of area that you can then get the bots to place it ready for when you're down there, because power is going to be added down there shortly to just make sure there's enough at the end of the run here so nothing browns out or blacks out. The worst thing that can happen at this point is everything starts blinking red with power, and you go, "Oh no, what have I done?" And you realise you've not quite got enough power for the run, and that can be quite disastrous. That can rip a run very easily if power runs out.
Because you have to come back. You have to basically feed all boilers at the same time. So
well,
they
actually,
kickstart.
very close to our donation goal, our halfway point of £256. We are
Excellent.
currently £6 away from that.
Oh, excellent news. Let's see if anyone can help us out there, and let's get the Factorio community, get these guys to their halfway mark for this charity stream. That'd be really cool. So this part of the run now is going to set up purple science and yellow science, which is production science and utility science officially, but we always call them by the colour just because it's easier. And again, this is a very copy-paste build, so you'll build the first little section, get it all set up with all the recipes, and then you can basically copy the entire lot and let the bots build everything for you whilst you move on to other things, essentially. But you'll still also see the 2 belts that you dragged up earlier from the early buffer fit perfectly up here. Where's the link to donate? I believe there is a command. Let me see if I know it. I think it's just... someone beat me to it. Yeah, it's just exclamation mark donate. So now it's just going to copy and paste this build once everything's set.
Why is my steel not running? A single power pole. Oh my god, okay. That's so annoying.
Damn you bots.
Stupid bots. Why don't we have... Do we have a stupid bots command?
So they should place it quite quickly because your bot queue is dropping very fast. So.
And if you say still craft after like over 1 hour of in-game, you're still crafting. Now we're crafting all of the labs for the lab expansion. Usually you could also do that with assembler, but then you just steal the other resources from the main, like what we really need now.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like, because Zaspar's so fast, he has to handcraft them to keep up with the base, because it's just quicker than stealing resources. When I do the run, I'll actually change one of the mall assemblers, so probably something like the splitters or something in that mall, change them to labs, and just let them automatically get fed as and when they go. And that's, for me, it's fast enough because I'm a slow runner in comparison, but it works really well. Hotkeys, bloody hotkeys. Don't like hotkeys. It's a swear word. But yeah, to see the buffer here is taken from the frames. So again, that was set up earlier. They were used to craft bots, but they're also used to feed yellow science because you need 1 frame in every one to produce a couple of yellow science at each point. And now we're copy and pasting power. Again, everything is so well thought out as well. Like, even the pump jacks fit from that build up top into the same spot at the bottom. So a spot was found that allowed you to copy and paste it exactly as it is and just flip the build so the belts go the other way. And that was it. It's incredibly powerful.
Time saving.
Yeah, it just saves so much time. I mean, the bots will just go there with all the power stuff that's been built previously and whoosh. Sekis is not sure, but I think the bottom mix might be missing the coal inserter.
Yes.
Oh, chest explosion!
Oh,
Yay!
actually.
We have seen it!
Yay!
I know, chest explosion. No. I was really struggling to get enough resources for these labs right now.
I frankly think you've done it, but it's worth glancing at. Have you crafted your chem plants yet that you're going to need? Don't forget to do them.
I can't craft all this stuff.
Come on, there's no excuse. Get crafting. You got 21 minutes. I'm putting you on the clock. I'm putting you on for 1:30. That's it. You're going to PB in this run. You have no choice.
You have no choice. I mean, in the end, he needs... Oh, like, the lab expansion is 48 labs. And he's gonna craft 20 red bed because he needs that to feed all of the purple science assembler.
I think there's been another donation.
Yep, there is. 10 pounds.
15, it was 250.
Really? Oh, true, 15. What do we at now?
What do we do?
You have yellow signs on your circle.
I know, I screwed that up. I just fixed it.
It's just too fast for you.
It's like he's just too fast for him. Yeah, it's like watching a blur sometimes.
Sometimes. better reach the 420 milestone by 4:20 p.m. UK time. That's what you get for backseat the speedrun.
Apologies for not reading that donation out. I was too busy adding an additional panel to the to the Twitch, which you may now see. Let's see. So this is from Sino, a £15 donation saying we love Factorio. Smiley face.
We do.
But again, no customization option. However,
No, come
we
on.
are now at our halfway goal of £256.
Nice job, guys.
Hey.
We are now at £265. And the
Good
new
job.
target is £420, because of course it is. The
course.
funny number for unfunny people.
Yeah, and Xeno's also one guy of our speedrun community.
Yeah, we did put the call out as we knew this was happening, see if we can get some people to come and watch and donate, and it's nice to see that everyone has. Thank you very much, guys. It's always appreciated especially for charity speedruns. It's always for a good cause. I need to refresh the stream though, make sure I'm seeing
The boiler missing from logistic storage. Oh wait, Xeno. Oh wait, no. I thought Xeno with an X, not with an S. It is a Xeno with an S-E.
Xeno with an X and Xeno with an S.
Yeah.
There's actually now a donate panel at the bottom of the Twitch page if anyone's looking. It's a very professionally designed donate button. Please donate, click here.
My steel.
So please go and find it.
No.
What happened? Oh, steel. No. Yes, steel.
I haven't been making any steel this whole time.
Yeah, because you have turned bad.
I thought I fixed the
Because you
turn belt.
blueprinted.
Oh no, that's not gonna PB now. It would have been a PB.
Thank you, Ara, for the good lucks. Yeah, no steel means that we are not producing purple science in the rate that we should have.
There's a little bit being produced, but there's not enough on the belt to cover everything that's needed.
Yeah, and Seki is mentioning that you're missing now the long insert of work coil for steel.
He said it must be missing now, surely.
for the last two, the last two
Yeah.
bits I just printed, which haven't started running yet. Okay, that's fine though.
How's your pod modules going? Are you in a
Production-wise.
production stats wise? I don't know when you personally check them.
It's not that close to swapping yet. It's only 640.
Okay. Oh, good. That's right then.
At least the core is settled, yeah. And maybe cut the furnace production.
Yeah. I mean, they were blocked anyway because the chests were capped.
Every little helps now with the steel. Try and
Yeah, steel's
gotta try
gonna be
and
very much a
yeah.
limiting factor at this point, and there's not
It's-
a whole lot I
yeah.
can do because it's kind of too late.
steel basically controls how much purple science is going to get. That's why those 4 lanes are pretty much all going to purple science. So producing purple science gets a little bit ropey at this point. It's a bit slower than you'd like. So it will hold up because of that. So research will basically be delayed because purple science is a bit low. It'll still be quick. It'll still be a quick run, but it won't be as quick as it was looking. But this is the problem with these 90% runs. It's always one thing, one little thing like that. One turn belt here, one power pole missing there that essentially means just going to be short of one thing for getting a good run on this one. And you'll be guaranteed it'll be a new mistake you haven't made either at all or for a long while in a lot of speed runs.
I really hope that communities don't kill this run. Or not killing, but messing up combinators can be really annoying to fix. Like combinators is, it's not math, but it's just, you can program things like limit chests or even saying you are only allowed to pick up one item before the thing is done. When it's done, you're allowed to pick up another item.
What do they call? Is it Turing complete? They call this,
Yeah.
I think. So basically, the logic gates, the combinators and deciders used in this game, effectively make Factorio Turing complete. So you can do proper coding, and people have coded like 3D things in the game and such.
Yeah, games.
Like with visual, it's very low frame
Doom.
rates and such. But yeah, Doom has been recreated and such. It's absolutely madness what you can do with some of the circuitry stuff. I was asking why there's a uranium patch there. Yeah, this is Zaspar's super secret
Power plant.
That's
stream.
my extra technique, which no one else does.
And we now have a We Love Factorio smiley face across the top of your hat
Lovely.
as well now. Yeah, your VTuber image is coming along very nicely. Yeah, we did question that when we seen his run the first time, Ardo. We did wonder where the uranium came from in that spot.
Two
For most
days
of us,
ago.
yeah, for most of us, it's not normally there. It's taken out via the map generation. This game looks so confusing. This game looks so confusing at speedrunner level. If you were to start the game and play, like, there's a free demo of this on the Steam store, by the way. So if anyone wants to try it, you can actually get the demo for free. It lets you play like the tutorial levels, and then your save will carry over into the main game, and you can get a feel for it. And just playing normally, most people will spend hundreds of hours building factories in this game, like literally. I mean, they got the nickname of Cracktorio because it's very addictive, and you will look at the time and go, "Oh, it's only 8 o'clock. I'll play a couple hours of Factorio." Then you'll look at the clock and it's 6 o'clock in the morning and be like, "Where the hell did my night go?" It's one of those games. Once it gets hold of you, it really sucks you in, and you can be building factories for many, many days, many hours. I mean, a lot of us that speedrun, for the most part, I've got thousands of hours in Factorio now.
I just
It's
wanted
just-
to mention how many hours we have, but like, Zaspar, do you know roughly where you're set in hour-wise?
About 1,600.
Yeah, Kobai, what is your state of?
Mine was just over 2,200 now, I think.
I think and I'm sitting at 2,800 hours.
Yeah. Then you got the top speedrunners like Anti-Elites and Nephrons. They have got
5,000 plus.
5,000-6,000 hours in the game. But and that's not just because through speedrun as well, from playing as well. I mean, you can play mod packs in Factorio and all sorts. There's so much longevity in this game with mods and such as well that repurpose a lot of the vanilla gameplay into like loads of extra stuff you can build and reprocess. So it's a game you can play for years, and a lot of us have, to be fair. Speedrun is just the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
It's like it's confusing when you're playing slowly. I think it is at first. I think once you've built your first factory, though, that confusion goes away.
But it's the same for me. I can't really play slow because I'm speedrunning the game for more than 2 years. Like, slow? What is slow? Okay, I just know what to do fast. Like, I can't be slow.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets less confusing after 1,000 hours. Yeah, but speedrun does become a bit of a way of life in Factorio. It is really hard to play slowly when you're so used to building stuff at, a certain way, just because you know it's the most efficient, essentially.
You're using belt, not inserters?
Yes. Is there a problem with that?
No, I also use belt. It's fine.
Yeah, this build he's put up now as the RCU build. So this is the rocket control units, and this is where the circuit magic comes into play, where you use combinators and deciders, etc., to basically force the machines to only pick up one item at a time off the belt. Otherwise, they'll take a load into their internal buffer, and it basically is it 2 in the internal buffer? Yes, they take a couple, and it might not sound like a lot, but when you're at this level and you need things running quick, having 2 buffer up into one machine that are just sat there waiting to be used, rather than traveling down the belt and then being used by the next machine that actually has space, it adds up. It really adds up quite fast. So these are done in such a way that it only says, only take one if you need one, basically, and lets each machine run one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. Thus, you get a perfect kind of production out of these for the stuff you put in.
He has done before the first, or like in the mixed build he has done earlier, was the first part of the for the rocket. There was the low density structure. Then he did the rocket fuel on the bottom left. That is the second part of the rocket, but it can only be used as also be used as fuel for everything, for trains, for cars, for furnaces. For is there more? Is there more that you can use fuel for?
I think that's it.
For burner inserters.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, technically.
And you can also craft them into uranium fuel.
Yeah,
now he added the last component for the silo, that is the RCU rocket control unit. That's for us the expensive thing that we have or have to build. because it's just everything you build up in the last 20 minutes. It's just, yeah, we're gonna use it all now in mainly 5 to 10 minutes when we have everything. I mean, yeah, with combinators, it's more like 6 minutes.
Question from Jason Cube: does this speedrun have enough time to go for so long? And thanks for all the fish. Possibly, depends how quickly things come off the belts here. Because we're a bit purple science limited. There might be time to grab a fish and send it in the rocket, which is an achievement in the game, which is literally called "So long and thanks for all the fish" by launching a rocket fish into space.
Frankly, we don't need to check for plots here, or we change everything to speed.
Yep, speed's already done. Prods are changed. The speeds are up and running. Fish could be grabbed doing concrete. Yeah, true. You're not far away if need be. Fish is the Chad way of ending this game. Yeah, so basically the rocket, to launch a rocket, you have to craft it out of those 3 components that Bumble was mentioning. So you need the LDS, you need the rocket fuel, and you need the RCUs. And for the way this is set up, you need it to be 720 of each produced.
But that's only
to do a rocket, yeah, because of the way we set it up in terms of production modules, which basically reduce the amount of stuff we need. So the rocket itself will have 4 production 3 modules in it, which is enough to reduce the amount of stuff you need down to that level from 1,000. So they're very efficient.
How do you win this? Depends how you want to look at it. For us, we win when we launch the rocket. For other people, it might be when they have different amount of science per minute producing. Let's say mega bases have the goal of producing as much science as possible. Unlike it's also needing to launch rockets.
I think there's been another donation.
Yes. Yeah, send a rocket to space. Get the fish.
Okay, I'll go back and do it later, I think.
You might have time. Can we keep an eye on it?
There should be plenty of time.
So at the top right, the rocket silo is now researching. So the rocket silo research is basically, once it's 100%.
There has been a £5 donation by Boop Zoop to. Oh, okay. The comment says add cat ears.
Add what?
Add cat ears.
Cat. Yeah. Okay. To the head or?
To his head, I guess, somehow. Be interesting.
On the top. Need to go higher.
So yeah, this is the rocket silo research is. It's one of the things. When you're expecting it, it's great. When it's going quick and you look at that percentage going up and think, oh crap, now you're on the clock. Because when that finishes, you need to have everything in your hand to be able to either handcraft or put into an assembler to craft the rocket silo, and then drop everything into it you need to start crafting the rocket and launching. So it should literally be like a couple minutes between the rocket silo being finished in research and the rocket launching or being produced, because everything has to be ready as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and I think the stuffing of the silo takes a bit over 1.5 minutes. If you have all materials you need, the 720 of the 3 components, then I think it's 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then after that, the launch animation is roughly a bit under 25 seconds after you press the launch button.
Yeah, so even things like that have been timed, because obviously we just know exactly where everything comes out to. It's it's quite funny at times when you talk about it. It's like, yeah, that's 25 seconds. That's going to take 1.5 minutes. That's 30 seconds. So we know exactly when the rocket should launch based off of, when research finishes and when stuff's available on hand.
And for us, the rocket research is the most expensive in science-wise. It's like 1,000 each.
Yeah.
And you have a problem with your combinators, it seems.
No, I think it's just low on blue chips.
Can you recycle from yellow science yet?
In a moment, probably. I'm going to get a fish now.
Okay.
Probably could have even done that with a bot.
Yeah, you probably could.
But then from the bottom right, like. No loop at back of Arceus? No, Nox. Because he's splitting it in front of it. So he does not need the loop on the back.
Nox and Arduas the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so for those wondering what that means, basically what you can do with the RCUs is put the blue chips and the speed modules through one belt and then bring them back around the other side to the other side of the build and then put one big loop all the way through, so they just keep going round and round and round and round. But the way Zaspar's done it, he split them out the front, so half goes down one lane, half goes down the other, so they're already split at the front. But there is ways of looping, like the science is looped on the belt on the labs. It just makes sure things keep moving around so that assemblers and inserters that can pick up will keep picking up constantly and keep producing. So there's constant movement of materials then, so you're not sort of bottlenecked by one thing.
And there's one achievement that's called Lazy Bastard, that you're only allowed to craft 111 things.
Mm-hmm.
And back in the days, I think you had one more. You had 112 because you also need to craft the rocket silo.
Mm-hmm.
Because
right.
you couldn't craft in the blue assemblers. You couldn't not fit 5 or 6 materials you need in there. It's 5. But now you can do it. But back in the days you couldn't do it.
Oh,
so you had one more craft.
The cat ears are on.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah, Lazy Bastard is a very good achievement. It's a very fun achievement to try and get in this game because you kind of have to be very careful of what you craft. You have to do everything that you need to craft, and then everything else has to be done with recipe changes back and forth in assemblers to get stuff done up until the point you launch the rocket. It's quite challenging, but there's no time limit on it, fortunately. But then if you do 100%, you have to do that in that run as well, which is incredibly taxing. And props to the people that do 100% because it's madness, in my opinion.
A good route for 100 item.
I don't know if anyone's made like there's no guide per se for the Lazy Bastard as such. I think you could probably watch any of the 100% streams though to get an idea. What's going on? Yeah, Varja's guide is probably pretty decent. Varja was the first one to break the world record again after like a long hiatus it had been done for. Anti-Elites and Nephrons are both running for it at the minute.
And Cyro, we have like Zaspers, the runner, and we are Kowa and me are the commentators. So he's not actually talking while he's. I mean, he can talk, but
he's talking a bit.
Yeah, he's talking a bit.
These guys are smashing out the commentary for me.
Yeah, so the thing is that the run is very intense. Like talking whilst doing it is very tough. And you're right. Obviously, having Zaspar talk at the same time as well is actually quite impressive because it's very off-putting having to talk about something not necessarily to do with what you're actually doing at the time as well.
So let's say when we are streaming, we are then, or like what I do, I just say what I have to do next so I can remember it. And that's, I mean, you're streaming, you want to give your stream something to talk about, you want to talk with them, but when you're speedrunning, you have to pay full attention on the game and on the chat. So sometimes you catch yourself not talking for 5 minutes and like, oh no, I have to talk something because we are so in focus because you don't want to mess up anything.
I mean, what you do find in some of the top runs, so people that are running for world records, occasionally will have someone in chat with them that's generally silent, but then is watching chat and being what we like to call chat assisted run. So you'll end up having people who are watching chat and then just saying, "Oh, by the way," me and Bumble have done so far, like, "Oh, by the way, don't forget you've missed out a inserter there, you've missed this recipe there, etc."
I think you're
and
missing
that can really
too.
help.
Just, but I think you're missing hundreds too.
I realised as I'm trying to craft the silo.
No, yeah, frankly, said that.
It's a stack.
But
damn, you're so close to.
You will be on time with.
You'd have been on time for a PB run, I think, if the steel had been ready by the look of this.
PB probably not. Probably PB would be super close.
Oh crap! Oh no!
Oh yeah, it would be really close.
Yeah, that's not gonna. We have to.
He's panicking putting the fish down there because he's not used to doing that. Don't do that.
The fish messed me up.
Because it's fast.
Okay, whoever's on the timer, we're about a minute from the end.
Yeah, get ready. When the victory screen pops up, it's very obvious in your face saying finish, continue.
You have about a 30-second warning once this percentage progress bar is finished.
Yeah, once it hits 100%, the rocket comes out of the silo and then it hits launch, and then you'll see it launch, and as it disappears off screen, a few seconds later, the message will pop up.
Okay, got it.
And this was incredibly close to
This
a
was
PB.
really fast. This was so close to PB. Unbelievable. You're probably less than a minute off PB on this run.
Without the steal mistake, this could have been sub 130.
Yeah.
Very, very close.
The mistake was.
Because science really limited me.
Yeah, so you see all this stuff going in now. So he has to use the LDS and the rocket fuel in his inventory full. He's hand feeding them in as quick as he can in stacks, so the rocket just keeps going, going, going. There's beacons all around the outside with speed modules in to speed that up. That's why it's going so quick. And then there's the rocket about to come out of the ground, and then as soon as it does, he can do a launch button. And the squiggly belt is kind of part and parcel, going round and round in a circle. You kind of have to do that at the end of a speed run. It's launched. So any second now.
No, you have. Yeah.
About 20 seconds, give or take. That rocket is going to take off and disappear at light speed, and then the run will be complete when the little box pops up.
Woohoo!
There it goes. Get
Less
ready.
than 30 seconds.
Hey, GG. 1:31:45 on your timer. Very good run.
That was pretty
And
solid.
Yeah,
This
you were like,
bog.
you'd have
mean,
been very close to PB there.
30 seconds from PB is like exceptional because
Yeah.
small.
I
small-
made the
very small-
mistake
Oh,
of
yeah.
going by the stream audio instead of the actual audio. But yeah, that was great.
What's my time in the stream?
1:32:02.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, still super fast. Still
Oh,
a really good
great.
run. And you couldn't ask for more when we're sort of yapping away in your ear as well. It's very hard to concentrate when someone's talking
Well,
at
you say
and
that,
around
but
you.
there are about 6 of 6 which were picked up by you in the chat. So
Yeah.
Very true. Chat percent rules. And
Chat
thank you all for
percent.
the donations and coming to support Zaspar doing his charity
yeah,
speedrun.
thanks
It's
so
always
much everyone
appreciated.
for the support and the donations. It's really kind. I'm sure the charity is really going to appreciate it.
Definitely.
Cool. So I think that's it. It's
Yeah,
time to hand
thanks very
off.
much.
That's
Really do
all.
appreciate it. I think this might actually be the run that has donated close to the most amount.
Oh, let's go so far.
Excellent.
I'm sure
So-
Mario
Yeah.
typing is gonna pip us. Oh yeah, thank you so much to the organisers, by the way, because it's been, well, it hasn't been the smoothest stream, but it's been a very enjoyable stream. I don't know if I'm still live or not. I'm still chatting.
We can see still your.
You
we
are
still-
still
we-
alive, yes.
we can still see it
don't
spinning.
worry.
Yeah.
I will
Just
fade
listen.
out to the break on here.
Awesome.
Yes.
Alright, thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
To the break on here.